Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. Shanti, 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 Om Ishwara, Namaste. Welcome, beginning chapter 12. So, Swami has been presenting Bhakti Yoga in the previous verse of the chapter 11th as is a path, which leads to self-knowledge and mōkṣa. I have no problem with that picture, although I take the liberty nowadays here and there to edit on what Swamiji is saying, but I always bring the context, to whom Swamiji is teaching, the cultural context, and so my class is usually for a small group of people and group of people who have been working on these teachings for 5, 10 years, or more, but on this level, deeper. And so I have the liberty to here and there and making some editings, to what he says. He was presenting over and over again Karma Yoga as the highest possible path, and so on. And then he comes to say that the totality of all range of sadhanas makes together, I said Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. The totality of all, you will see what he says here, okay? Totality of all this range of sadhanas makes up to Bhakti Yoga. No, it's not like that, because people can go through some of these or the entire range of sadhanas without developing devotion. People, a lot of the times, they take more the academic approach. So people can go and be a Karma Yogi from the standpoint of understanding the Ishvara system and so on. But this so-called devotion is something very subtle that not necessarily comes up, fructifies or comes surfaces, or as a add up of all these different paths or sadhanas. You understand? So it's something much on what. That's why I like to say it's not a path. It's not a sadhana in particular. It's not the sum of all sadhanas, but it is an attitude of great love and appreciation for God, which could, be there permeating all sadhanas. All sadhanas should be, permeated or should have this fragrance of reverence, love, and gratitude. Why? Because this is a religion, it's a spiritual path. And in Vedanta, a spiritual path must be a religious spiritual path. In some other circles, people forget about religious. They want to take the spiritual path. One example is Buddhism, that rejected Ishvara or God or the creator and all everything. All of them went more in the philosophical level. And then there is no gods. There is no, who is their God? Buddha. Buddha is a symbol of something. Symbol maybe of nothingness, emptiness, or reality. But the fact is that if you are Buddhist, you don't need to develop, you're not encouraged to develop any devotion to God, because there is no question of any God. So what is the difference here? With Vedanta, we say you need to explore your relationship with the Creator. The Creator is God. And so if you want to be a materialistic, you can even become a philosopher, or you can take a spiritual path, which is which is deprived of devotion because you did not explore your relationship with the Creator. You understand? There's no question of Creator, It's just like life is what it is, and I need to achieve nirvana by doing certain sadhanas. So what's the problem with that? The problem is that when we come to Vedanta, we say that the entire range of sadhanas that leads to self-knowledge and mōkṣa should be an exploration within your relationship with the Creator. Why? Because you're going to understand the Creator on more and more deeper, subtler level, until you come to the final teachings of the Upanishads, which will say your very nature is nirguna God. So you need to begin your relationship with God from the get-go so that in the end you can benefit from the notion that you are the nature of God himself. It's your very nature, So now you have the nature of God. You go through all your sadhanas, knowing that sadhanas that somehow use God as a symbol in whatsoever level until we come to the subtlety of the Upanishads. And then there we get in contact with Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, and then we can understand my nature by understanding the nature of God. You understand? But if I regret God from the get-go, what is going to be self-knowledge? People say, I am consciousness, I am consciousness. The people of the direct path, the new advice, I am consciousness, I am conscious, everything is but it's more often than not is a philosophical understanding that somehow superimpose the mind on consciousness. People believe that human consciousness is consciousness, and they say, I am the nature of consciousness, everything is consciousness, and then they go into these notions of oneness as if reality or consciousness is a sum of everything. We are all one, and then everything is one here. But they don't have the understand that the oneness is the very nature of God, which is the very nature of the person seeking reality, because reality is God, reality is consciousness. So therefore, I'm saying that to emphasize the importance of putting this process into the context of searching for the nature of God. And having said so, once you go into this relationship, you start developing appreciation for the Lord. Why? Because you follow the logic of Kama Yoga, Dhamma, Upasana, and you see it is a fact, it is a fact. This universe is very intelligently designed. So the source of this, or the fundamental cause of this, although Upanishad says that this universe is a superimposition or a projection, but it's an intelligently designed projection. So the source of this projection, the cause of this projection must be something which is pure, total knowledge, intelligence. So, and then you start understanding that this intelligence projects, it sustains, every one of us sustains life around us, life around us. So you start developing appreciation and gratitude. So it begins with understanding the nature of Ishvara, even if it's in the most basic level as a Sakama Bhakta, So I need to take things as prasad, and I need to invoke Ishvara because I want to have success in the world, and so on. But I'm already approaching God, trying to understand the nature of God in one way or another. So this effort to understand the nature of God goes in parallel with understanding our true nature, because in the end it all comes together. Your nature is of the nature of God. Everything is of a nature of Nirguna God, Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna Atma. And as a seeker of reality, a seeker of God, I cannot help, but I need to, if I go through this process properly, I cannot help but develop a feeling, emotional, sentimental experience of appreciation and gratitude for the opportunity. You understand? So Ramji used to say, so Ishwara is doing everything for us. Yeah. I often say in Brazil, we don't even know how to do digestion. So Ishwara is doing everything. You understand? So we need to get to understand Ishwara from that angle as this intelligence that provides us. Oh no, it's nature. Nature is like that. Okay, so if you believe that nature is projected and sustained without any intelligence principle, then you mean to say that you are just like a piece of clay with no sentience whatsoever. No, you have a flavor, taste of that intelligence because you are an intelligent, conscious, existing being. So, what is this discussion about Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga, Swami present here and there as a path on its own. Is going to go more into this now in this very short 12th chapter. This is the main topic now, Bhakti Yoga. And then Swami here says in the second paragraph, we come to know by the study of this chapter 12. Now he's upgrading his statement. He said that Bhakti Yoga is not a particular sadhana. Okay, it's not a particular sadhana. It's not a distinct sadhana, but it is a file or name, and then all sadhanas are put in there. But even this concept may be confusing because, as I said before, you can use a name or file to put smaller files into it, but the sum of all these other paths does not necessarily translate in devotion, because devotion is attitude that must begin from the first, simplest and most rudimentary way of relating to God. So devotion should be at the beginning, and then it grows and it grows and it grows in sophistication, in gratitude, in love, in reverence, in observance of Dharma, and takes things as they come. So the individual becomes stronger and stronger by developing devotion. Okay, so it's not a distinct, a particular sadhana, but it's a name. Okay, and I think he had his reason to present it in this way. It's a name of all spiritual sadhanas put together, and then it adds up to Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is not a sadhana, but it's a group of sadhanas, and these spiritual sadhanas are 3 in number, which will be discussed here. Okay. No, I'm sorry. Oi, filho, eu estou dando aula agora, tá? Eu me livro aqui da 1 hora mais ou menos, se você ainda puder falar. Tchau, um beijo. Meu filho, my son, I was trying to reach him over the weekend. I don't talk to him since a long time. Okay. So Bhakti Yoga is not a sadhana, but a group of spiritual sadhanas. So Bhakti Yoga is an attitude of appreciation, reverence, and gratitude to the Lord, which should be present through all groups, the entire group of sadhanas, So Bhagavad Gita being the essence of the Vedas, 3 sadhanas. So we know that there are 3 sadhanas in the very, very traditional mean, in a structure of the Vedas. The traditions say there are three sadhanas only: Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. There is no such a thing as Bhakti Yoga. Ramji used to highlight it big time. There is no such a thing. And Ramji adds up Dharma Yoga, which is fundamentally within Karma Yoga. So we have three yogas, and fundamentally, if you go really, really, really in the tradition of Vedanta, there are only two paths: the path of action and the path of understanding knowledge. You do actions to gain certain results. The results every spiritual seeker wants is improvement, betterment, purification, refinement of the body-mind complex. We do actions to process betterment or improvement or purification. And then once we have got a relative purification developed, and then we go into contemplate these teachings, to see if we understand the true nature of reality, and to see if that understanding may or may not transform one's life, one's relationship with the world and with the body-mind. We perceive the world, and the way this body-mind perceives the world, and the way the world is seen as well. So there are fundamental, traditionally, two yogas, which is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, the paths of action, the paths of understanding or knowledge. Okay, and then in some of our texts, Shankaracharya presents the Upasana Yoga is a concession. In the Gita, Upasana Yoga was presented as a concession to those who feel that they need to do upasana or meditation to further purify the body-mind complex. But my take from the beginning is that if one does Karma Yoga according to the books, and then one develops not only purity of intention, but also focus, you understand? Because the mind is going to free itself from all those anxieties, expectations, frustrations by trying to control one's experience. But here, Swami is saying we have three sadhanas: karma, upasana, and jnana. And in this chapter 12, Krishna Ji presents these three sadhanas subdivided to become 5. Okay, I mentioned that in the previous class. Krishna feels all these 3 levels of sadhana should be practiced only in the atmosphere of devotion. So Ishwara Bhakti, again, now he's talking what I've been saying is the atmosphere or the attitude or the spirit in the heart of the sadhaka, which should be present when we go through these 3 levels of sadhana, because ultimately you must go for trying to understand the true nature of Saguna God as your very nature. And if you don't have a great desire to understand God, you're not going to get to that, to that extreme subtlety of understanding the true nature of Saguna God as your very nature, without superimpose the mind upon consciousness. So far, so good? Krishna feels that without Ishvara Bhakti, these 3 sadhanas cannot be called religious sadhanas at all. He said cannot be sadhana. Okay, there we go. Sadhanas means, bhakti, devotion, love, appreciation should be present. So it is an atmosphere of devotion, love, reverence to God that this exercise become yoga. So we need to have that in perspective to keep. Therefore, everyone would be called bhakti yogi, if they have developed understanding, feeling, in respect to the Lord. There are two ways to differentiate bhakti yogi level 1, 2, and 3. And bhakti yogi, when you are kami yogi, so you have devotion to God as you live your life, acting up in observing Dharma and doing your best at least to observe Dharma and taking the results as prasada. This is the level 1, bhakti yoga. Level 2, is the bhakti yoga, which can be interpreted in two ways. One is the niskama bhakti yoga, which is I'm doing what I'm doing, but I am doing things not only for my personal benefit, but for other people as well, okay? We could add even a third subdivision in this bhakti yoga, which is the sadhaka or the devotee that does with great love and reverence and opportunity to serve the Lord as the Dharma field, so give something back without expect any personal gain or even collective gain. You just do it because I love serving God and I have only one very subtle goal, which is mental, emotional, spiritual purity, which allows me at the end to understand my true nature as the nature of God. But leave it out. We're gonna follow the structure of Swamiji here, 2 levels of Bhakti Yoga, which translates to Sakama and Niskama, okay? And then we go into Upasana. Upasana again is divided into 2 levels. One is you do your meditation using Namarupa of Ishwara. So Ishwara, God, is going to be more often than not represented by a deity. And then further down the road, you're going to take the entire cosmos as a symbol of Ishwara. And then you're going to do your meditations, not holding on to a deity with a name, a form, and a certain attribute, but you start expanding your mind, and then you see and meditate on Ishwara as the cosmos, the entire manifestation of the cosmos. So this is the second level of Upasana. And then as far as Yani Yoga cannot be subdivided, because you cannot break the self in 2 levels, you understand? So you cannot say, now I want to understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman, but I'm going to understand in 2 levels. No, either you understand it or you do not understand. So it's a sadhana, it's all or nothing. Or either you understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman as your true nature. It's not enough to understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman. The knowledge becomes direct and immediate as aparoksha jnana, if you understand the nature of Brahman as your very real intrinsic nature. So we have therefore Yani Yoga as a single level of Yani Yoga. I mean, and then one has to go through Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasa, which is the structure of Yani Yoga. First, you're gonna listen, and then you go contemplating, resolve your doubts, and then later on, you need to do Nididhyasana. What is Nididhyasana? Nididhyasana, remembering the teachings until it no longer needs effort to be remembered. Remembering the teachings. I am free, limitless Brahman. Nothing of this world can really impact me. So I'm whole, full, and complete in the sense that there is nothing other but consciousness, and I am of the nature of consciousness. My apparent inferior nature, it belongs to Ishwara. I took the gift and the opportunity to gain this knowledge so that I'm out of the game. So you will find that there are 2 steps in Kama Yoga. You will find that very big than what you do. So let me see here. I jump the first line. These 3 levels of sadhana itself, Krishna subdivides in 5 to make it easier instead of having 3 steps. And if this time I have this house here and the steps were made wrongly, instead of 17 centimeters are 21, 22. The space was such that they made the steps a little bit more like that. So it somehow stressed my knees. Okay. So I'm looking at it, but now I have been doing exercise to strengthen my knees. So going up there, I'm now taking as exercise for my knees. So, but anyhow, so if you subdivide the levels, usually it is easier to climb, you know. So exactly like staircase, you break them in smaller steps, though everybody can go up gradually but surely. Similarly, Krishna subdivides these 3 levels into 5. Kama Yoga is subdivided in 2. Vipassana in 2. 2 plus 2, 4. Jnana Yoga is not possible to be divided because you either understand or you don't. You cannot say, I understand Brahman level 1 and I understand Brahman level 2. No, it's impossible because Brahman is one without a second. If you understand Brahman number 1, it means you understand Brahman plus Maya, and then later on Brahman minus Maya. But it wouldn't make sense, that concept. So we have this subdivision of 5 sadhanas. So Swami presents a question here. What is the difference between Kama Yoga, level 1 and level 2? So we all know, we have already seen this concept over and over again. So if when you begin, if you are like to be born in a culture in which everybody is introduced to the nature of this relationship between the creature and the creator, but you have a lot of energy, a long list of worldly desires, okay? So you're materialistic. You want good things and you want fame, prestige, success. So, and of course, a person in that level should be given the opportunity to step on the number 1 step. Okay, go follow your desires. So the person is far from being interested in mōkṣa. Find somebody interested in mōkṣa is one of the most rare things there is. So the person is not really interested in self-knowledge and mōkṣa. At that level, the person is not even interested in serving society, is earthly, selfish, materialist person with a lot of worldly desires, and Krishna wants to accommodate everyone so that everybody has an entry into this relationship with the Creator. So Krishna says, let the materialist, selfish people follow or pursue their worldly desires because it's where they stand. Suppression never works. Repression is very dangerous. One has to exhaust those desires. The only way is just going through the pursuit of all these desires until you understand that they don't deliver. There is no other way. Otherwise, those desires remain there hunting the devotee. You understand? So it's very simple. First things first. Otherwise, the mind is going to be fixated, fantasizing those goals because they were what? They were skipped. They were suppressed. People renounce the world, but only God knows the attachments they have in their own mind in regards to things of this world. We see that in the ashrams, according to some of our swamis in the tradition. Then gradually we mount up like a volcano, and then later a person can completely go astray, and therefore the Vedas say don't suppress, just go for it, pursue your worldly desires, and then once you grew in maturity, and then you're going to see a shift happening. You're gonna not only be interested in artha kama, but you're gonna be interested in dharma. You know, I want to give something back to society. I understood that having more, better, bigger house and cars and this and that and status, none of that is making me happy. So let me try something else. Now I'm gonna live in my life, you know, extending, serving, sharing things that I have gained with other people as well. So I developed that sensitivity, that empathy with people in need and so on. So that's the way to go from sakama to niskama. And we begin where we stand. The person in the second step is not interested, far from being interested in mōkṣa. It does not matter. You might be interested in artha kama, yes. You need security through money and properties and assets, and then you want pleasures, entertainment. Krishna says that's all right, but never forget to include God in your life and know that any gain is a blessing or a blessing from Ishvara. You follow certain conditions. One of them is every time you have success, you remember these conditions. You know, when you pursue your worldly desires, you succeed, get them. Before you enjoy those results, you know, do not claim as aham, aham and aham karam amakaram, I and mine. So do not claim they are my accomplished, you know, I am so successful, I'm so brilliant and so on. You remember that God has provided you with a body mind, and you have a lot of energy. You go there, you are following the rules of society. You are not cheating or stealing or deceiving or manipulating. Good for you. But never forget, keep an eye on the ego. Don't allow the ego to become too altered, because that is going to make you to move away from God, because you're going to try to say, why not? I can live without God. I can live with the blessings of God. So accepting things as Ishvara Prasada, start there, whether you buy a house, a car, or new job, new dress, children, anything should be seen as a gift from God. And this is such a simple thing. Yet, you know, there are so many people in this world, the large majority living in need without having basic things provided to them, like good, you know, clean water and 3 meals a day or 2 meals. They live in total poverty. And yet a lot of people having a lot of things provided, yet they don't appreciate and they don't take it as prasada at all. As punya, when you buy a new house, enjoy the house, knowing this is the house of God. In India, they put immediately a picture of the deities in the house, saying this is the house of Krishna, this is the house of Shiva, and so on. So it's a beautiful culture. What may follow karmas, you may not do niskama karmas, you may do paropakaraya karmas, does not matter. So he's still in the level number 1. Sakama, stay there. until you grow to become a niskama devotee, okay? And then you're going to do actions that give back to society something, give back to the society, because society is the field, the Dharma field, which is an expression of the Lord. Help the Lord to support, sustain, to uphold the structure of the Dharma by giving something back. If everybody starts extracting without giving back, and then the structure of society collapses, and then this intelligent order may come to the conclusion that human beings need to learn a lesson, maybe. Who knows, you know? What's the first level of Karma Yoga? Prasada Bhavanaya, Sakama Karma. We talk about selfish activities for my own benefit. Then what will happen? If I continue seeking things for my own benefit, but taking them as gifts coming from the Lord, blessings coming from the Lord, because of this attitude of taking things as blessings coming from the Lord and taking my prarabdha karma, even, you know, in case of failures, as prasada as well, the mind becomes purer and purer, and the mind becomes more pure. The individual will reflect upon what he's doing with his whole life. So let me contribute something to others. This kind of reflection will come gradually in the mind of the person who was purified in the light of Karma Yoga level 1. Desire for giving back, not only for extracting value, like James used to say, extracting value, but giving back value. I develop a desire for giving back. Life is not merely taking, extracting, but is taking and giving back. The mind has changed. Remember, the mind before used to say that the sign of success is by taking as much as you can. Now you see success is proportionally to giving as well, in the same proportion. I take, but I give back. This is the difference between these billionaires and people who are spiritual dharmic people. In materialistic approach, success is directly proportional to acquisition. They say success. And I think Dayananda used to say, the greatest success is the ability to take your failures, you know, with gratitude and with equilibrium, with balance, you know, with strength and with gratitude as prasad. This is the greatest success in life. Why? Because even materialistic, aggressive people who have success, you know, they sooner or later they violate Dharma. Sooner or later they are going to be older, weaker, and they may begin dealing with a lot of failures, you know, including one's very body mind is going to decline and collapse as well and fail them. So you need to be prepared for that. Okay. Success is accepting what cannot be changed. In the end, we're going to lose everything. The greatest failure is I'm going to lose my body. I believe that my existence depends on the body. It's going to be the greatest failure that these billionaires of nowadays are trying to offset by wishing to transform humanity from humanism to transhumanism or post-humanism. In spiritual approach, success is proportionally to giving back. Therefore, in the second level of Karma Yoga, the sakama karmas will become lesser and lesser. Okay. My awareness, my consideration, my reflection of others of other become, I start taking others into account. It's not only about me, but it's about everyone. Therefore, nature, things that politicians have a hard time to develop this approach. Niskama, Kamani, or Pancha, Maha, Yajana. I find time. No, I don't. Previously, I will once my mind begins changing. Previously, only time for selfish activities. I never had time for giving anything back. Even when I have time to give something back, remember, giving something back not necessarily means giving money. So just give them time, giving them words, or let them speak to you. Give your ear to them. And consoling words to others is a way to give back. Giving knowledge to others is one of the best giving. Yeah, all these are giving. And when I give to others, not with arrogance or with a sense of superiority, I give to others because it's one's nature becomes sharing, giving, adding value to others. Giving is done as Ishwara Apana Rupana. So the second level is to become a giver, knowing that the gift is coming to Ishwara going through you. Therefore, the second level of Kama Yoga is Ishwara Apana Bhavanaya, which is the attitude we find in the Niskama devotee, Niskama Karma Anustana. In the first level, I am self. The second level, selfishness becomes less. The first level, I have a narrow mind. In the second level, I have expanded mind. I take others, I take many other factors into account. Not only not me, only me have to benefit, but others have to benefit. It goes far beyond all this, you know. You start revising your values, you know. You start reconsidering how to be happy in this world. It's not from acquiring and accumulating more assets or riches, you know. Happiness and peace of mind and purity in the heart comes with sharing, giving something back, and including Ishwara as prasada, and what gives to us and what we give as a gift of Ishwara through our attitude, which has purified by being a Niskama Sakama Kama Yogi, has come down. At first level, I have a narrow mind. Now I have expanded mind. I have re-examined my values, and now I know that peace is the greatest value. Love is the greatest value. Empathy, and is the greatest value. So, and that comes through a process which includes your relationship with God, in the light of the teachings of the Vedas. I have a very narrow mind at the beginning, and then my mind expands. I think of others. I think of the higher values in life. I start feeling more empathy, love, compassion. Devotion grows as well. So, Ishwarahpana Bhavanaya, Niskama Karma, different names for the same kind of devotion to the Lord, taking everything as prasada and offering everything as gifts of the Lord through each one of us, so that the ego does not start, losing its proper perspective. The third level is Upasana Yoga, which means Ishwara Dhyana. So very simple. What is Upasana Yoga? It means meditating upon Ishwara. That too, Sagunishwara Dhyana. Okay, the individual at that level cannot do nididhyasana, cannot do Upanishadic nididhyasana, cannot meditate upon Nirguneshwara. It has to be Siguneshwara. Why do we prescribe this sadhana as the next stage? Kama Yoga is absolutely important, fundamental for purity of heart and mind. For spiritual elevation, Kama Yoga is the most natural sadhana. Therefore, Kama Yoga is absolutely necessary. But it has got one downside, which needs to be neutralized. So the logic here is, as a Kama Yogi, you go into a lot of actions. The Kama Yogi has to engage because he is a householder or grihasta, and they used to have many children, or nowadays they don't have children, but life is very, very tough. And then they have to work many hours and so on. So one develops too much extroversion. And Raja Guna goes growing, and Raja Guna has upsides and downsides. So now that is the disadvantage, which needs to be neutralized. Why? Because with too much activity, stress is unavoidable, and the mind becomes fragmented in pieces of, I have to do this, I have to do that. I remember when I was running the restaurant, and it is tough. The mind gets tired, overexhausted, and lose its focus more easily. One has to reduce that intensity of karmas. So we have to understand Kama Yoga is action convert into sadhanas. Okay, actions convert into sadhanas. How so? Because I do what I do, dedicating to the Lord, and I take the palas as gifts from the Lord, regardless. So its actions convert into sadhana, spiritual sadhana. Oh, that's great. And then the more actions, the better. No. If you live your lifestyle of action, that is not going to add up into more spiritual sadhana. It's going to make you very tired, very stressed, over fragmented in your mind. Therefore, moderation is absolutely important. And one may offset, the tendency of extroversion by taking time to do upasana. In both levels of karma, I think I moved by accident my page here. What page I was? No,
2148 at the, oh no, sorry, 2143 at the bottom of the page.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The disadvantage which could be neutralized by doing a little bit of meditation to calm down the mind. So I could see it very clearly when I was beginning this process of entering the spiritual world with through the door of meditation, that I was doing that to calm down my mind. The mind was so stressed, so full of concerns and problems and conflicts and problems. So it was like that. And then oh my God, let me calm down my mind, calm down. And then 1 hour doing Vipassana, slowly, the mind will calm down. It was the way to go for me. And too bad that after some time, those same mechanisms would come back, because I have not addressed the root cause of all of that inner stress, inner conflicts. Okay. Karma Yoga is very important for purification, especially of the heart, of the mind, spiritual elevation, but has some disadvantage. When I get into karma, I begin doing too much karmas, especially if I am overdoing it. I'm busy serving myself, serving society, running, going. And that's not very good. The best thing is moderation, and maybe the best way to go into moderation is taking time for upasana. Because we're gonna need an introverted mind when we go into the last stage, which is Jnana Yoga. So I have to have focus and the ability to stay, following the line of thought, the line of investigation as presented by Vedanta, without having a fragmented mind, dispersive mind. This extrovertedness represents an obstacle for someone to enter into Vedanta, Jnana Yoga, because Jnana Yoga involves inquiring into the inner nature of the self. It's very subtle, and the mind has to be alert and focused. Self-inquiry or panchakosa viveka requires an introverted mind, introspective mind, not an extrovert mind. Extrovert people will meet self-knowledge, and therefore upasana is on Ishvara, meditating on the nature of Saguna Ishvara is the way to calm down the mind and reduce that extroversion. But again, you don't want to do that as a band-aid forever, you want to do that because when you calm down the mind, you may see more clearly the trajectory and the context you're living in. You have more clarity to make change, So I'm going to become more moderate in the way I'm doing things. How did you come to this? Oh, I started meditating and then I saw it more clearly. You understand? So in that way, I will be able to enter the Jnana Yoga, which is an exploration towards my own inner nature, which is a very important training required, and without that, a person will never have Atmayana or Brahmayana. So Nididhyasana, Shravanamana Nididhyasana is absolutely necessary, because without that, the person will never really going to resolve this fundamental problem of samsara, of a mind which is suffering human experience, a problematic mind, suffering emotionally, mentally, with the Viveka Shakti fragmented. So the only way to go is to qualify to enter with a good chance of success in the Jnana Yoga. Therefore comes to the third level, which is upasana. And even upasana, Krishna Guru divides into two kinds of meditations. One is one single rupa, eka rupa, and the other is aneka rupa. So talk about a deity or the vision of Ishvara as Vishvarupa Ishvara. So that's all right. It's up to any one of us. If one wants to try to meditate upon Ishvara and give it a try, either Ekarupa or Anekarupa Ishvara. Okay, so if Anekarupa is too difficult, So do a step back and then hold on to your deity, the image, and so on. And then once the mind is more focused, and then you move into Aneka Rupa, as Ishvara as the entire manifestation, and then visualize that which is different from visualize only one Amarupa, one symbol of the Lord, or the entire cosmos as the symbol of the Lord. Okay? So one may experiment. I mean, I talk as other people are going to watch this video, but these videos are just, between us for different reasons, but it's all up to Ishvara. But anyone out there who wants to experiment with both. Otherwise, stay with your Ista Devata. Do your meditation. That is going to calm down your mind and allow space for you to re-examine all these activities that more often than not, you don't need to do so much. It becomes a habit, a vasana, that begins, overwriting our free will. Krishna asks us to replace this Ekarupa with Anekarupa. We have seen it in the 11th chapter. You want to say something, Lynn? Krishna is not a person located in one place. If Bhagwan is looked upon a person located in one place, that Bhagwan also will be very limited, subject to birth and death. So if you want to meditate upon Krishna, so you can meditate upon Krishna. But remember, it's not a super jiva. It's not located in place. So that alone requires a refined mind, to understand Krishna as an avatar of the Lord. Or the Lord itself dressed up as an avatar. Therefore, for initial meditation purposes, we can have a karupa until mind is expanded. Upasana helps in focusing. The next upasana helps in expanding the mind. Therefore, the first level is upasana. The next level is anekarupa upasana, or Ishvara dhyana. Both of them come under saguna, of course. Saguna means what? It is the Lord under the superimposition of the attributes of the gunas of Maya. The Karupa Ishvara also has attributes. Vishvarupa Ishvara also has all attributes of the cosmos. So thus we have got 2 levels of Kama Yoga, 2 levels of Upasana. Once one goes through these levels, one is eligible to enter the 5th and final level, which is Jnana Yoga, which is inquiring into the true nature of Ishvara, otherwise known as Nirguna Brahman, which is otherwise known as one's very nature. In the 7th chapter was called Paraprakriti, Yaparaprakriti. Paraprakriti is Nirguna Brahman, Aparaprakriti would be Ishvara. Vedanta Mana Nididhyasana is Shravana Mana Nididhyasana, consisting in systematic study of the Upanishad scriptures, which deals with Nirguna Brahman, and not only a study that the combination of that study should be that Nirguna Ishvara is no different than my very own true nature. Okay, so I have a little resistance to use this higher nature and lower nature, because nature is nature. And if you say, I see people in my circle in Brazil, and even people here and there, they talk about both natures almost as if, okay, I have 2 natures, I'm good to go, I have 2. No, you have one nature, you know. Your nature is consciousness. The superimposition upon your true nature is just the ahamkara, which is not your true nature, you know. So your true nature is going to be understood once you claim Aham Brahmasmi with success. When I come to Nirguna level, the difference between Ishvara and Jiva disappears. At Saguna level, we are in the triangular format. When I come to Nirguna, I am in the binary format. There is only I, consciousness, Brahman, or whatever, and the superimposition upon myself. Satya, I am, Mithya is the superimposition, which is not really real. Okay, I don't know if you notice I'm tired today. I'm cutting off on coffee, and then I'm a little bit like that. And tomorrow I'm going with Sylvia to Brasilia. We're gonna do more of a set of exams. And our next class suggestion here is Thursday and Friday, if you guys are available. Are you? Okay. There we are good to go. Namaste. Thank you. Much love. See you soon again.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.